Hey, this is John Fernay, the co-host of the Maryland Crabs, and I am here today with a Maryland Crabcake for your listening pleasure. What's a crabcake? It's not quite a full episode, it's just a little snippet. Stay tuned and check it out. And make sure you check us out on themarylandcrabs.com. You can follow us on Twitter at MD Crabs Podcast, or find us on Facebook at the Maryland Crabs Podcast. And don't forget, subscribe, rate us, iTunes. Go there now. Hey, we're down here in the basement of Maryland Hall and ran into Oyd Craddock. How are you?
Doing great, John.
Good, man. You got into town yesterday. I know I met you, ran into you at the pre-party. And you're staying at the Calvert House. Not a bad place to stay in Annapolis.
Beautiful place. Makes me want to get into much more of the history of Annapolis.
Well, we got some of that, that's for sure. So are you enjoying the film festival so far?
I am meeting some great people, learned some things from a couple of panels. So
this morning, is that
stuff.
You hit the panels this morning?
Yes, I did. The one on digital distribution was excellent.
Okay.
Which is a new wave of the industry.
I was going to say that's everybody that I talked to beforehand. It was like, well, where are you going to be able to see this after the film festival? And they're like, oh, well, we got this digital, that digital, and so on and so forth.
Video on demand.
It's. I was talking to a bunch of friends on Facebook actually this morning. They were talking about bringing back a theater, like an arts cinema on Main Street, and the argument was just that with the rent and everything else, it's going to be very difficult. And one of the arguments was that, hey, everybody's watching things on their phones and everything else, so it's difficult.
We got to accept how people consume media now, and that's the reality.
And you got to be where they are.
Yep.
That's exactly it. The kids or anything else. Oyd Craddock, he's with the Before the West Coast. He's the writer, director, producer. I would say star.
No.
He's you were on the team.
I was on the team.
You were on the team.
I was on the first championship team.
Absolutely, with St. Aug in New Orleans, outside of New Orleans, or in New Orleans?
Heart of the city, New Orleans. Yes.
Absolutely, and this is screening today at 2:30 at Maryland Hall, and again tomorrow. And I don't have my schedule with me, but I will.
3 p.m. at the Asbury Methodist Church.
That's a really good venue for films, actually. If you haven't seen one there,
haven't been there.
It sounds kind of odd, but it's a very good one. Before the West Coast, it's about an all-black team that came into a white league, and just through perseverance, through racial tensions and everything else, officials that didn't want to see them win, to a team that wanted to win.
Absolutely, and a coach who was a great leader, teacher, and he was innovative in terms of his offensive schemes, and all of that is played out because in many ways it's a tribute to Otis Washington, who was the right leader at the right time.
And when we spoke earlier before the film fest, you said that Coach Washington was pretty much the impetus for this film Before the West Coast, right?
Yes.
And it was at his Hall of Fame induction.
His Hall of Fame induction in 2012 triggered me wanting to tell the story. I realized it was a very special time for us together, for the community, for New Orleans. I also realized that they took a very long time to induct him into the Hall of Fame. It was 33 years after his last game, and about 11 or 12 years after I knew he was nominated. So, once again, I think he might have been treated a little differently.
That's funny. You hear everybody say how even in like the Music Hall of Fame and Sports Hall of Fame, all of them, it's like, it's been a long time.
Yeah.
Well, it is getting to be about 2:30. I'm going to go in to see Before the West Coast. If you are able to get down here to Maryland Hall before it starts, come see it. If not, tomorrow at Asbury United Methodist. I'm here with Oyd Craddock, who is the producer of Before the West Coast, and we will look forward to your question and answer session both today and tomorrow.
I am too. Looking forward to it. All right, great.
This crab cake from the Maryland Crabs podcast was baked especially for the Annapolis Film Festival. The film festival runs from March 30th through April 2nd in Annapolis, Maryland. You can find out all the details at AnnapolisFilmFestival.com. And, as they say, talk movie to me.